In this tutorial, we'll be discussing the Adobe Photoshop brush tool. Now, the brush tool has a lot of options, and we'll be covering that in a separate series because there are a lot of advanced features, including the brush palette, that we can go through and discuss. But for this one, we're just going to explain the basics of how to use the brush tool. It's located in the brush toolbar. If you don't see it, it might be in that you're looking at one of the sub menus. So you left click on your mouse and make sure that you select the brush tool from the flyout menu, and that will give you the brush tool. Now, the brush tool is used for actually drawing and painting right on the canvas. There are several options available, including the Alt option and the Shift option. We are going to be working on our actual image layer. So if you Alt click, you notice you can actually select a foreground color. So for example, like some of these greens here, you'll notice the foreground color on the left there is changing. You can just go through and sample the color of the brush that you would like to paint with. And then what you'll do is we're going to just grab some of this brown color, and I'm going to use Shift here, and Shift is constraint. So now I'm actually drawing with the brush, or painting if you will, right on the actual image. Now this is destructive, so I'm actually painting on the image as if I was taking a brush or marker and writing right on it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and undo some of this here and remove it out for right now. Brush tool can be used for a variety of things, including painting, and in our case here I'm going to undo and remove some of this, and I'm going to show you some options here in the preference bar. So the preference bar, you can select the brush size, so you have a variety of sizes available to you right there, and you can see you can make it larger or smaller, and also the hardness. The hardness means how sharp the edges are. In this case it's very fuzzy. Now there's a lot of other options available. We're only going to deal with the opacity setting here. The opacity makes it transparent, so you see it's semi-see-through, and the more times you draw with it, it kind of builds up the opacity and makes it more opaque. The flow is very similar. It's used within airbrush, but we're not going to deal with that in this tutorial here. Okay, so let's set that back up to 100 there, and I'm going to go back in there and let me just show you an example. Like if we wanted to sample a blue here and paint out all these clouds so that we could do some typography or some other graphic design element over this image, we would just sample it by using the Alt key and then painting out the background here. So I'm going to go ahead and make my brush a little bit different. If you see this, you've actually made your brush too big. So if you look up there, it's 5,000 pixels wide. So that's obviously too large. So watch out for that. Reduce that down, and I'm going to make the hardness 100%. That way I can get up there and right up against that sharp edge there and get a clean line and just continue painting out. So this might be one use for the brush tool. You would obviously have to zoom in to get all the edges around the trees there, but that's an example of what you can do with this individual tool here. So for right now, we're not going to take time to do that. I think this covers it, though. Be sure to check out more tutorials at 5minutetutorials.com, and you can also subscribe down below. But thanks for watching.